All right. Let's kind of take a look. First and foremost, we had a massive news alert yesterday, which sent NVIDIA down decisively after hours, but semis have already been in distribution very, very strongly. In fact, NVIDIA has been a very high probability swing short since this January top in NASDAQ, but even before that. So this is the weekly time frame. This is the day. This is the hour. And even though a lot of folks like to day trade, I am very much looking at this time frame congruence as okay. You can definitely chase, but a swing trade is something that is a lot more meaty. And then a trend reversal, which I believe NVIDIA was, happened back in November of last year. So it really depends on time frame. But let me just also kind of show you on this chart. It might look a little messy, but stay with me for just a minute. When I am actively recommending longs, whether it be in a sector or in a stock, I am very much using the 10-week EMA on a weekly time frame. This has been extremely helpful for position trading, for trend trading. This obviously got extremely extended. I had a thesis beginning of the year that NASDAQ outperformance of 13 years would end, and that we would have a solid pullback in the markets. I did a whole big write-up. I went on Stock Charts TV. I talked here. So basically my thesis was that the market would pull back, and obviously NASDAQ did, semis as well. This NVIDIA trade actually not only broke the 10-week decisively, but very solidly, right to the 50-week moving average, bounced into resistance, retested again. These really March short covering rally was extremely highly kind of telegraphed because of lots and lots of puts that were going to get monetized. It was a FOMO kind of short covering rally that lasted 2.5 weeks, and it formed this kind of fake breakout fast failure, and then it had a gap down. So hopefully you can kind of see this, but this cradle formation on a weekly gapped down, and that was it, the kiss of death. So there are so many within semis, within tech, that basically got a little bit too big for their britches. They went into distribution, but then Microsoft, Google, the rest, there was a lot of weakness. There was a lot of selling. So this produced, obviously, this kind of protracted swing short. It did rally into the 10-week again, got rejected, came down to the 200-week, had a very strong reversal off the July 15th low, which if anyone follows me on Twitter at Samantha LaDuc, I have been fascinated with the amount of volume and the breadth expansion that happened on July 15th. Kind of my mantra was everything changed July 15th. Well, semis were no exception, and it moved very strongly into higher ground. However, it still couldn't break its downtrend. It still could not break its protracted downtrend. Semis are a mess, and they're actually what I've been calling low-hanging fruit short. In other words, there are tons of sectors, you know, K-Web and SPAC and IPOs, and there are tons of stocks, ARK and, you know, the rest, that have obviously been pummeled for well over a year and a half, and they haven't gone up off the ground. But semis are actually the most meat left on the bone short. So this was already recommended for a short as long as this 10 and 21 continued to point down. Once they start to base and turn and move higher, it's a different ball game. So the news actually for earnings was this little pop into resistance. We actually day traded that very, very strongly. It did not get back above 180, which was important for this to get defended. And obviously that fateful Friday sell-off, a 5-day or a 5-bar rule. We got a little support, at the end of the day, but I contend the market is extremely weak under the surface. Volume is starting to come out, and not just the Fed quantitative tightening type of illiquidity, but sold to you indicators that I use with clients has just been incredibly on point in showing when the risk comes into the space. So some of the semiconductors are right now sitting, again, this kind of weekly support level at the 200-week that they better get defended. They better have a very full-on stick reversal higher if they're going to get saved. Otherwise, we have a lot of lower levels.